So it's been a couple of weeks since we've been back from Daytona. Finished 6th, which matched our best finishing position ever there, but we were like in sight of the leaders at the end, so we had a chance. It's a little bit tougher to swallow that knowing you had a chance to win but didn't. We'll get them next year.
It's the kickoff of the new season. Going down to Daytona with the team and all the guys from the shop and everybody that's involved in such a big undertaking to do a 24-hour endurance race. These guys work super hard, they know what they're doing, and they really pour their heart and soul into this.
The team did great, the cars did great, the drivers were awesome.
Unbelievable fields. I think we had 31 cars in our class, which is amazing. We had a pretty good showing. We showed some good pace. We're all positive about Sebring and next steps.
These guys have really been cranking here. They've made a lot of progress. First, the interior wiring. Drew's been underneath the dash, buttoning up the wiring, which interfacing the car to the rest of the electronics, which is really going to get us to the next step of things once we get the engine in.
A couple of the really big and exciting components that are really coming together now are the headers, and the way we're doing it I think is better than anybody's ever done it before. Lucas and Brew and everybody working together on this has been huge, and it's allowed us to come up with an exhaust system that's beautiful.
We received the transmission today. We have everything actually here to put that motor in. Really the next step is verify fitment of the headers. Once we do that, we can really start rolling and making all the hoses, and it'll be a lot of plumbing and brackets and that sort of thing, but we're starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel.
We're going to put that sucker in. I think really that this is like a turning point. I think once this happens that everything else is going to kind of fall into place. I'm just waiting to hear it run, maybe tomorrow.
So we received this engine essentially as a long block, which is basically a naked engine complete from valve covers to oil pan. What I've been working on and what I'm continuing to work on is adding all of the parts necessary to make this thing run. We've got a new oil filter housing, a new water pump is already installed, all of our components here in the valley of the engine. As we're building this, we really wanted to make sure that this engine is dead reliable, so we're replacing every sensor, every component that is potentially an issue. So it's a lot of little parts, it's a lot of hardware. At the moment, I've got the motor 99% dressed. Basically all the sensors, all the actuators are installed, and the next step for the motor is going to be basically bolting a clutch and flywheel to it and bolting a transmission to it and installing it in the car. So Lucas right now is finalizing the last few welds on the headers. We're going to be able to do the test fit here in probably within the next hour or so.
I work on the race team at Turner. I'm the car chief on this 96 car that's right behind me. Primarily I work on the GT cars, which seem to be multiplying kind of like gremlins. I do a lot of the fab work here at Turner, so hopefully everything's going to fit in the car perfectly. If it's too close to something, it's going to be a real heat issue or just rattling on whatever we're going to be in contact with. And that engine in that car is going to be some clearance issues. It's just a big engine in a small car, which is cool, but makes for a couple problems here and there.
Normally the highlight of every week for me is Taco Tuesday, but this week it was Install Engine Wednesday. Today we test fit the engine with the headers, and everything looked awesome, lined up great. Lucas has a few little tweaks to do on the headers to give us a little more room in there, but everything's looking fantastic. It's totally made my day, made my week, taco or no taco. It's awesome. I had a dream that the headers were so close to the steering shaft that the person driving it, hands were getting warm, like it's a heated steering wheel because it was traveling up the shaft. I asked Brew about that. I said, hey, look, we're gonna have the headers right next to the steering shaft, and is that going to be a problem? He basically looked at me and said, don't worry about it. I got some special stuff coming that's going to insulate the steering shaft, and I already thought about that.
I've been seeing headers in my sleep.
What's it, lunchtime in here? Have you seen Jay?
No, I'm not.
Have you seen Jay?
Nope.
Tom, have you seen Jay? Hey, have you seen Jay? Hey Kim, have you seen Jay? 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 Hey, have you seen Jay? Nope. Hey James.
Yes.
Have you seen Jay?
Nope.
Jay? Jay? Have you seen Jay?
I have not seen Jay.
He's missing again. Jay? 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 Whoa, have you seen Jay?
Nope, I haven't seen him.
I'm all over the place. It's hard to track me down. I'm very quick. I'm always very busy, so it's just hard to lay eyes on me sometimes.
Recently, I've been working on connecting the engine harness to the E46 chassis. This wiring harness here runs across the car, over the transmission tunnel, and then out into the e-box. Basically, this runs out to the Motec unit. This here is basically what connects the engine to the car, so it's all of the functions of the instrument cluster. We really wanted this car to perform and act like it came with this engine from the factory, so everything here is going to work like factory. So all of the functions are going to work just like stock. So this was a bit of a project basically to wire all these in. We did it in a way so that it is somewhat reconfigurable if there is an issue with the wiring harness. I also wired in factory connectors to these few wires here, and these will allow us to just simply plug it in to the original harness. I had to make a couple changes to the headers. So Lucas tweaked that a little bit. We test fitted it again, and the headers fit perfect. We're all really happy with how well they came out. Big step today, we got the real engine, the new engine, installed in the car with the headers for a final test fit. So I'm working on now fitting the rest of the exhaust system, making sure that all fits up still, and verifying all the last details for the exhaust fitment. So that is a really, really big accomplishment to get the motor in there with the headers. Get the header design is now 100% finalized, and it all works.
I think it looks great. I mean, I've seen them, the process. They've been working on it for a while now, but this is the first time I saw the entire exhaust system on the car, and it looks amazing. I can't wait to hear what it's going to sound like.
I saw that the diff and the axles are in, and the sway bar's mounted, and the shocks are there. So basically the back of the suspension of the car is ready.
I put the axles together, so that's all done, and I put the shocks and the sway bar so we could kind of tie it all together. We're still waiting for springs because we're getting some custom springs built for it, and the brake calipers are out for some custom coloring, so we're still waiting to get that back. But as soon as we get it, the rest of the back can go together.
Forge Line, which I know we've touched on before, Forge Line made some awesome wheels that fit the car perfectly. They're super light, super strong. The finish is awesome. It will match the style of the car, match the color of the car. But on top of that, we're gonna put some new Michelin Track Connect tires. And the Track Connect tires actually have built-in tire monitoring systems. New technology, new app. I can't wait to get out there and actually see how these tires work. Michelin is a partner of ours in racing. They were nice enough to work with us on this project and come up with a tire or supply a tire that's gonna match the project. It's cool that we're able to work with Michelin on the track as well as here in the shop. Just another thing that Turner and Turner Service and our Turner Motorsport race team has over anybody else, where we can really dig deep into our pockets and pull out those connections that maybe another shop wouldn't have.
Coming up next is a lot of plumbing. I've got basically all my coolant lines to make, power steering lines, AC lines. I need to make the oil dipstick. That's totally custom. We're doing a custom transmission cooler and ducting to that. We do have a lot of work to do, but now we can actually really start to move forward and start making some progress.